Hello, everyone. Welcome in. We are so excited to see you all. Go ahead and feel free to drop into the chat right away. Let us know your name. What is your fancy job title? Where are you calling in from? And what is your experience with diagramming? So as you're coming in and typing all of that stuff, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Cal Martin. I am a customer trainer. I am calling you from Central Texas. If you know where Austin is, drive about, I don't know, 45 minutes south, you'll find a small town called San Marcos, Texas. That's where I am calling you from. And I would say I'm pretty experienced with diagramming. I've been doing it kind of as my job every day for a few months now. So I think I've got some good experience. But I'm excited to hear from all of you. Again, what is your name? What is your fancy job title? Where are you calling from? And what is your experience with diagramming? Shelly, your son lives in San Marcos. Oh my goodness, I'll have him come on over. We'll do a little family get together. Sharna, business analyst, Topeka, Kansas, and a beginner. Topeka, I love Topeka. We used to drive through it all the time. Another Cal in the chat. Love to see that from San Francisco. Diagramming for about 6 months. That's exciting. Got a California crowd today. Pasadena. We've got Minneapolis. Michigan, Los Angeles, a UT grad. Hey, what is up, Ryan? Just down the street from me as well. Bernie. Oh my goodness, I love Bernie, Texas. Bernie's so cute. Oh my goodness, we're coming from all over the place. We've got all the different fancy job titles too. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you all start connecting with each other on LinkedIn because you guys are going to be a great resource for each other as well. Tammy Johnson. Okay, everybody, give Tammy Johnson some love. Tammy is a previous coworker of mine from a previous job at Texas State. We love Tammy Johnson. Oh my goodness, there are so many of you. This is so great to see you all and meet with you all. I hope you all connect with each other on LinkedIn, make some connections, make some community, make some friends. That's exactly what this should be for. Of course, we're here to learn some cool stuff, but we're also here to, like, I don't know, meet some new people and get some more information. Oh my goodness. Austin, Texas. What is up, Texas House in the crowd? I'm loving seeing our Texas crew here. Germany. Okay, Bjorn. Oh my goodness, Minnesota. Salt Lake, you're just down the street from headquarters. Since 2015, Dave, 2015. Dave is an expert. We're gonna have Dave lead the session today instead of me. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, it is so lovely to meet you all and so excited to see all these new people, brand new or who've been using it for a minute. This is going to be a great group of people to work with today. So I am so excited to work with you all and show you all some cool things. So I'm going to keep moving our presentation. Feel free to keep saying hi in the chat. I'm so excited to find out where we're coming from. So welcome all to Building Effective Business Process Diagrams with Lucidchart. Again, my name is Cal Martin. I am a customer trainer here at Lucid Software. I love to give you all a little bit of insight into myself and a little bit of my background. I come from the education space, which might explain some of my really high energy all the time. I have taught every age under the sun. I have taught elementary music, middle school orchestra, high school band, college undergraduates, and adults in continuing education at Texas State with my good friend Tammy Johnson, who's in our chat today. So I have done a little bit of it all. And a fun fact about me is I play 7 musical instruments. Let's count them, 7 musical instruments as my primary instrument. I always love to play a little game with the chat. Feel free and guess what my primary instrument is. Just choose one for my primary instrument, what you think it might be. So that is me. Oh my goodness, great guesses. Ooh, oh, there it was. I saw it. If you said clarinet, you are correct. I am a clarinet player as my primary instrument. Gold star for our clarinet friends. I know I saw it. I want to give you a call it. Mercedes called it out on clarinet. Good job, Mercedes. Air guitar. Yes, Eric, I do play air guitar as well. That does not count. Alrighty, so that's a little bit about me and a little bit about what I get to do here. Obviously, I'm a customer trainer here at Lucid, but I'm going to be your resource today to show you some really cool tips and tricks. And I got the really awesome job of coming in here, working with people just like you, customers and, you know, fellow teams and other people like that who are looking to diagram and get their processes more streamlined. So With that, let's do a brief housekeeping session. To answer the question I already saw in the Q&A, yes, we are recording today's session. You will get that email as soon as we can physically get it to you, aka when Zoom says you're allowed to have this recording. So check out your email, hopefully tomorrow, for that recording link. Feel free to connect with these people you're with today. Feel free to hop into the chat and do exactly what you're doing. Say hi, say hello, let us know what you're calling from. I also love using the chat for sharing excitement or sharing quick feedback. So if you see something you love and you're excited about it, share a wowza, share an emoji. I love a good emoji. So feel free to do that in the chat. And then this is the big important one. So I'm going to come in real close for a second and let you know something really important here. We have chat and we have Q&A. We've got two different tools for you. Chat is for chatting. Q&A are for your questions. We're going to try our best to have a good Q&A portion at the end of our session today. So start throwing your questions into Q&A. If I don't get to answer it live, we have an amazing backstage crew who can answer those questions for you as well. So chat for connection, Q&A for all of your questions. Also, so we don't lose them in the chat because the chat is blowing up and I would hate to lose your great question in the chat. So when in doubt, Q&A for your questions. We've also got live captions enabled. So if you need some closed captioning, feel free to toggle those on down at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And last but certainly not least, a mini disclaimer that some features shown today may not reflect what is available on your account due to security and privacy settings. This training should be geared for all accounts. That being said, some things you see or some things you might notice are going to look a little different. So do not panic if I say you'll find it here and it's not exactly there, it's somewhere nearby. Cool? Fantastic. All right, so housekeeping, recording, check for that tomorrow. Chat for saying hi, Q&A for questions. Turn those captions on if you need it. Do not panic if something looks different. Think that's all the housekeeping. Let's keep it moving. Because now it's time to jump into the agenda. What are we going to talk about today? What is our goal with our session? We've got 4 main goals. Goal number 1 is to help you understand. We're going to dive into the value of diagramming and create awareness of the 5 common pitfalls we have as new diagrammers. Another one is efficiently building your business process diagrams in Lucidchart and finding a good framework or workflow for thinking about business process diagrams. My goal, if anything today, is to help you get over blank canvas syndrome. It is the worst thing ever, and it still struggles with me to this day. So if I can get you over that blank anxiety is fantastic. Let's get you through that. We're going to help you optimize, customizing your shapes and clearly communicating your processes to teams, stakeholders, or external parties. And last but not least, visualize, connecting your data. And this is more of an if we have time, by the way. So our main goal are these 3, but if we got some time, we will get to visualizing, showing you some conditional formatting and having your diagram work for you a little bit. And of course, as we're going, go to the Q&A and please ask all of your questions. We will hopefully have a Q&A section at the end, but if you have those questions, throw them in as we're going. Please, please, please go down to the bottom of that Zoom screen, find where it says Q&A, and ask all of those questions. All right, so step 1. Is understanding. How do we understand diagramming? And what does these fancy buzzwords, business process diagrams, intelligent diagramming, what does all of this mean? Our goal is to break some of this down for you and help support what this all means. So first things first, what even is a business process diagram? The goal is to help participants, analysts, managers, teams, and developers, and a bunch of other people to visually represent things like order fulfillment, incident management, purchase processes, and many other essential business sequences. BPMN in particular is the business process modeling notation. It's basically a flowchart that models the steps of a planned process from end to end, from start to finish. The whole goal of BPD and BPMN is just to iron out your process in a way that is easier for all people to understand. So why should you even visually diagram? What is the point of it? What would it be to create that diagram? What is the goals of it? Why not just a Word document? Why not just, sticky notes on a canvas? Why do we need to diagram it? It creates four main things that are super useful for teams. It's going to create clarity, aka making it easier and a cleared and understand. Excuse me, everybody. BPMN provides a clear and standardized visual representation of business processes using symbols and notations that are easily understandable by both business and technical stakeholders. This is going to help reduce ambiguity and ensure that everyone included has a common understanding of how the process works. Again, that common understanding is so important. That way, anybody from above or below is going to understand what is the point of that process. It's going to help you with efficiency. It's going to allow you to document your processes, which allows you to find and identify any inefficiencies, redundancies, and bottlenecks in your processes. And those are the big three. Let's be real for a second. If we can iron out inefficiencies, redundancies, and bottlenecks, that's going to allow us to streamline our workflow, optimize resource utilization, and ultimately improve operational efficiency. And isn't that the goal, to get people working better and more comfortably and more efficiently? Next up, it's going to help you with uniformity. This is going to allow for a standard notation for modeling business processes, which means that these diagrams created by different individuals or within different teams will still use a similar or same language across departments, across divisions, across teams. This is going to facilitate consistency and coherence in process documentation, making it easier to compare, analyze, and improve across your entire business or across cross-functional departments as well, or projects. And lastly, the last big value is collaboration, our favorite word here at Lucid. BPMN diagrams serve as a common language that bridge the gap between business users, analysts, and team professionals by visually representing complex processes in a comprehensible format. This will facilitate communication and collaboration between different stakeholders involved in a collaborative project, or in a design, an analysis, an implementation, or general process optimization. This collaboration is going to ensure that business requirements are accurately captured and translated into solutions that meet the needs of your organization. I'm going to say that one again because that's the really big one for collaboration. This collaboration is going to ensure that business requirements are accurately captured and translated into solutions that meet the needs of the organization and then further our customers and our clients. So this is why you're going to hop in and use visual diagramming. It's for clarity, efficiency, uniformity, and collaboration. So that's helping us understand why we're even going to start diagramming. Now, the issue is when we dive into diagramming, where there are 5 common pitfalls that can get in our way and make it hard to diagram or hard to feel comfortable diagramming. Not even talking about blank canvas syndrome. We'll talk about that one later, but these are kind of higher level issues that we run into in diagramming. So the first one is we're often lacking data support. Leaders and stakeholders need data to make informed decisions about process improvement, but data is often buried in spreadsheets, Excel, Google Sheets, CSV files, so many of them, which is often hindering meaningful insights and prioritization, or we've just not set clear metrics for success. We don't know what process or the goal of success looks like. Another common pitfall is operating from a narrow perspective. Siloed teams focusing on internal projects without understanding their impact on connected teams hinders visibility and results measurement. So making sure you're connecting with fellow teams, you're using process diagrams to make sure everyone's using a similar language and connecting in multiple spaces, avoiding those siloed individual projects and working across the whole organization. Another pitfall is lacking a future state vision, aka what is our end goal? Where are we trying to get to? And then we get stuck on what we've done before. Well, we've always done it this way, therefore we should continue to do it this way. I would love to see a hand in the chat if you've heard that before. Coming from the education space, that's a very common phrase of like, well, that's how we've always done it. So that's how we're going to keep doing it. Meanwhile, maybe a new way would be better. Maybe a diagram would make it easier to understand. So I would love to help us get past that future state issue. Another one is to only improving processes reactively, aka we're only fixing things after they happen. We're not doing things proactively. So our goal is, we're waiting for it to fall apart before we start documenting, before we start fixing. We're waiting until we're doing that thing to start updating, and that's not very helpful. The last pitfall is involving the wrong people at the wrong time. Often we get stuck in our team and we're only focusing on that process in that specific team instead of bringing in outside perspectives, bringing in outside people, and helping create vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, and empowerment as well. So our 5 common pitfalls are data, perspective, future state vision, reactivity, and involving the wrong people at the wrong time. How do we fix that? How do we solve that problem? I got 5 tips and tricks for improvement for you as well. So to fix that, we are going to embrace data-driven decision-making by using clear metrics for success early on. Outline those success metrics from step 1. If there is available data, use that data to drive your decisions. If there's not available data, start getting that data. Data doesn't have to wait. Data can start whenever you start on the process as well. Foster collaboration across and within your teams by utilizing visual diagramming or visual tools to streamline your communication and enhance visibility. Visual diagramming, such as flowcharts, BPMN, can help you understand really complex processes and identify those areas of improvement more effectively. To help with the lack of future state vision, connect with your leadership to align on mission, vision, and values, making sure you're engaging in open dialogue with leadership to understand strategic objectives and keeping up with all of those things and incorporate them into your process improvement initiatives. To avoid reactivity, document as you go. I'm going to say that one again. Document as you go. Come on in and start documenting as you're doing the process. Let's say you're about to hire somebody new on your team. Instead of making this big project of we must update all of our systems in a new diagram right now, you are just going to really make some people stressed out and really struggle to get it all figured out. But if you're about to hire somebody, start documenting that process. If you are about to update a new process, start documenting that process. There is no need to make a giant project to do it all at once. Document as you go. And last but not least, maintaining that future state and involving the people who matter. So collaborating with leadership to understand the desired future state and provide guidance to your team on how to navigate the current state towards that vision. Regularly revisit and adjust your plans as needed to stay aligned with evolving goals and objectives. So if you're having issues with diagramming and you're really struggling to get your team moving forward, keep these 5 things in mind. Use your data, foster your collaboration, connect with your leadership, document proactively, and keep that future state in mind. Those are your 5 steps for improvement. So we're about to jump into a creation portion because if you didn't already catch it, I am a customer trainer here at Lucid Software. So my job is literally to train people how to be comfortable and how to use this process and how to use Lucidchart. So my goal will be to have us all practice building in just a second. But before we dive in and get hands-on on building a diagram, are there any questions on the 5 pitfalls or the values of virtual diagramming? Any questions on all of these things? We got a thumbs up in the chat. Seems like we're good. I love to see it. Okay, so let me get my knuckles cracked and adjust myself. We're going to get into creation. So for this, we have built a little activity for all of you to join us on a Lucidchart document to practice building together and build a flowchart walking you through and showing you the value of it hands-on. So I'm going to click myself on over into here, and we're going to have our lovely backstage team drop that link in the chat. Olivia, perfect timing. This is going to be your own copy. So while we're logging into that document, let me give you a quick understanding of what's happening here. While we do love to tout our visual collaboration and being able to work with people live on a document, there are about 530 people on this call today. And if I had all 530 of you drop onto the same document with me, it might get a little messy, and I would hate for that to happen. So we have given you your own copy of the document, so you can feel comfortable to move things around, change things, do fun colors, play around with different settings, all that kind of cool stuff. So this is your own copy of this document. So feel free to have some fun, do whatever it is you need to do. Take a quick sip of water while we're getting into that document. Alrighty, so a couple things to notice as you're coming into your document. You'll notice that this one looks a little bit different than the one I was on in a different tab. That was a different system. That was Lucid Spark. We're now diving into Lucidchart, which is going to be your best tool for diagramming. So I saw some people that were kind of new to the Lucid Visual Collaboration Suite and kind of new to Lucidchart. So I'm going to take just a quick second to give you the lay of the land, if you will, help you survey the area around you and get you comfortable with all the things you're seeing on this page. So first thing I want to call out is going to be on the top left of your screen is going to be all your document and file settings. So you can go up to the top left here, and you can actually update your document's title. So you could change this to your name or change it to whatever it is it might be. I'm going to keep it to what it was as the May 16th marketing webinar, but you can change your document title up here really quickly and easily. But this is also where you will find your kind of menus and actions. So things like your file settings, your view settings, or your help center, which is probably the biggest one to notice is this help center. So I'm going to go to the top left corner of my screen, swing on over to the right side, and find this little help center. This is where I can go to find keyboard shortcuts. Things like copy, paste, zooming in and out, all that kind of great stuff that's going to be super useful for you as you're navigating this space. One more great thing to call out besides the keyboard shortcuts is actually just to the right of that help center. And I got to be honest, this is the tool I use the most. And when I say the most, I mean like the most. It's these little binoculars right here. This is the feature find tool. If you left click on those binoculars, it will give you a little search menu. Oh my gosh, how fancy. And this search menu is actually going to help you quickly go through all of these different menu actions and figure out where things are. So let's say for a second, I don't like my blank white canvas. I want a grid on my canvas. I can go to that feature find, search for grid, and you will see it gives me all the different instances of the word grid in my toolbar. So if I'm brand new to Lucid and I don't know where my tools are, I'm going to use that feature find to quickly find the resources I need. So if I want the grid on, I'm going to search for a grid. I'll find that it's in my view settings. I go to grid and I can toggle on or off that grid to get my little graph bar style grid on the background of my canvas. Or I can go to view grid and change it to a dot grid as well if I want that. Full disclosure, I'm not a grid person. The grid actually hurts my eyes. My glasses are like 5 years old, so I need to get some new prescriptions is what the answer really is. But in case you're ever curious about anything on your left side of the screen, do use that feature find to quickly find any tool in this document. Now, if you navigate to the right side of your screen, that top right corner, you're going to find your collaboration settings. This is where you go to share your document, create a fancy presentation inside of Lucidchart, or even find and post comments on your document as well. So top left is document and file settings. Top right is your sharing settings. And before we dive into our left side toolbar, I want to make sure we understand how to navigate our screen. If you've never been in Lucid before, this might be new to you. So quickly, let's talk about how to navigate your board and set yourself up for success. So if you are like me and you are rocking the mouse club, the Mickey Mouse Club, go ahead and right click on that mouse to click and drag your canvas. Right and click on that mouse to move that canvas. If you're in the trackpad club, aka you're running track and field, take 2 fingers to move your trackpad as well. So that's 2 options for you. Right click with the mouse or 2 fingers on a trackpad. You can also press and hold the space bar to left click and drag as well, if that's an option for you as well. To zoom, aka to get bigger or smaller with your canvas, if you've got a mouse, again, if you're in the Mickey Mouse Club, you can roll up and down on that scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Or you can do a little pinching motion on your trackpad to zoom in and out as well. I know, Annalise, it's the best. We are all here for this. One more great thing to call out is going to be on the bottom right of your kind of like user interface, your UI interface. On the bottom right are going to be good old-fashioned plus or minus buttons, just to quickly zoom in and out. So if you ever need to quickly zoom in and out to get a more specific, you can do that down here on the bottom right with your plus or minus buttons as well. So from this little navigation section, I'm going to right click and drag to move myself to this next section over here, where we're finally going to talk about your fancy toolbox. I'm so excited. I love the toolbox. This is my favorite thing. Okay. So we talked briefly about the user interface in the top left, top right, and the bottom right. It is now time to talk about the left side of the user interface, aka your toolbox. I want you to imagine that you are a kid in a candy store and all of your candy options are waiting for you right here in your toolbox. This is the best place to go. So you'll notice I gave you a nice little graphic here, kind of walking you through what the different symbols mean on the left side of your document. So you've got your templates at the very top left, where you can go in and pull from pre-made, let me say that again, pre-made templates for you to use in your documents. So you can quickly use pre-made flowcharts, pre-made org charts, ooh, fancy, or pre-made customer research stuff. We've got lots of great pre-made options for you there. The templates are the best, Megan. That's where I struggle. So this is where I will briefly go into the TED Talk of blank canvas syndrome. These templates, wow, my Texas just came out for a second. These templates, there it is. These templates are how I fight some of that blank canvas syndrome. Just having something on the canvas makes it easier for me to get started. So I do love the templates option. You also will have your shapes panel where you'll be able to come in and see all the different shapes available to you. I saw a great question from Karen. We will be answering that question in just a second, actually. I'm really excited to get to your call out, Karen. So your shapes panel where you'll find standard shapes, flowchart shapes, and generic shapes. You've also got your containers panel where you can find your various swim lanes, containers, or UML use cases. We've also got an images panel, a fancy data panel. Ooh, data. Okay, Excel, come through. We've also got visual activities and our integrations panel. This integrations panel is the game changer for any Lucid visual collaboration suite. You can come in here and check out all the different third-party systems we work with in Lucidchart. Things like Gmail, Google Documents, Microsoft Documents, Outlook, Lucid Cards for Asana, Lucid Cards for Jira. Okay, come through project management. So this is the lay of the land for your left side toolbox. This is where you're going to go for all of the things. For today's uses, however, we're going to spend most of our time in the shapes panel. So if you want to go ahead and make sure you've got your shapes panel selected, that's what we're going to use. So that's giving the lay of the land. You now know what tools are available to you, and you know what things are options to you as well. From here, I'm going to go a little bit to the left and a little down, and we're going to briefly dive into Karen's amazing question on upgrading your toolbox. She was like, hey, I want more shapes. Give me more shapes. I'm with you, Karen. We want more shapes. Great news is we have a fantastic option for that. To quickly upgrade your toolbox, aka run to Home Depot, run to Lowe's, run to whatever store you're going to, and add some more tools to your toolbox. Inside your shapes panel, go down to the bottom left where it says more shapes. You're going to click on that purple button, and it's going to give you a pop-up list of a bunch of different shape libraries we have available for you. Oh my goodness. Things like AWS architecture, Azure architecture, or, since we're talking business process models, BPMN shapes as well. We've also got ones for data flows, dynamic shapes. If you're building a new office floor plan, we also have that as well. We've got so many options for you, UML, all those really cool things. And let's say, for example, I want to use these BPMN shapes. I can just select that little checkbox next to where it says BPMN 2.0, use selected shapes, and it's going to add those shapes to my standard library over here. So I'm going to drop over a little bit, and you'll see I just check box on that shape that I want from that More Shapes panel, navigate a little bit more to the right, and you'll now see it's been added to your left side toolbox. Now, this is going to be a pro tip. This is a free pro tip for all of you. Let's say, for example, you've got a specific use case you build for a lot. So you're a UML builder and you use a lot of UML designs. You're a BPM builder and you're using a lot of BPMN designs. What you're going to want to do is go to your left side shape panel and favorite that shape library. Seems like it didn't do anything right now, but basically what that does is when you go to open a new Lucidchart document, when you go to open a new diagram, those shapes will be there waiting for you. That's a new addition to your toolbox all the time. So pro tip, if you are a UML builder or you are an org chart builder, grab that shape library and make sure you favorite it. That way you've got that shape available to you at all times. That is my biggest pro tip for you today. So that is your left side toolbox. Quick little informational section. I did drop in some great resources for different shapes and what they all mean. That being said, shapes are whatever you make of them. Flowcharts are whatever you make of them. These are just general ideas and general use cases for these shapes. So feel free to go to these shapes later when we've got some free time and check out these different notes on these little shapes here. You can click on this little notepad to learn some more about each of these shapes and what they kind of mean. Again, it is really up to you for what you want to use or how you want to use these shapes, but we just wanted to give you some best practices in case, again, you're very new to this, you've not built a lot of BPMN before, and you're not sure where to start. That being said, we will not dive into this today. We will dive more into creation and practicing building. So, really quickly, that was navigation and your toolbox. Do we have any questions on navigation and toolbox before we dive into creating our own diagram? This is about to be the real fun stuff, everybody. So just did navigation and toolbox. Any questions before we jump into, of course, Misty, I got you. That's what I'm here for. We just don't have 2 hours for me to explain all of the shapes. So, you know. Great question in the Q&A. How do you see the shapes versus words of the shapes listed? What you're going to want to do is click on this little notepad here to see the more information on these shapes. So there's a little notepad to the right of the shapes where you can get some more information on all of these shapes. Alrighty, seems like we're good. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of my screen and select this little tab right here for create and optimize. Oh, hey, Tal, I understand what you're asking now. When you hover over the shapes, you will see what they are. So if you left mouse to hover over any of the shapes, you will see what they are. It will tell you what they are. It's a great question. Alrighty, everybody, we're about to build a flowchart all together. I understand what you're saying, Tal. I'll give you an answer for that for just a second, actually. That's a great call out. So we're going to build a flowchart together because that's kind of the fun of working with a live customer trainer is getting to build things together. And I'll give you some best tips and tricks along the way. So I did show you how to customize your left side shapes panel. And this might answer your question, Hital, a little bit. So the cool thing is we've got our great toolbox. We've got our toolbox open. We have all the tools available to you. We've got our hammer. We've got our screwdriver. We've got our nails. We've got our sander. I don't know. And we've got our saw. I don't know. I don't know tools. But we've got all of our tools here. The issue is that we don't need all of these tools. We don't need them all. We just need one panel right now. We only need the flowchart panel. So in my left side shapes panel, what I'm going to actually do is click on this little caret to the right side of my shape panel, and it's going to collapse that shape panel, aka hide away that shapes panel. You can also do that with your standards panel and your shapes panel and any other panel you might have added. So right now, I only have my flowchart shapes available to you. This is also where I kind of help to fight that blank canvas syndrome. Because again, if you've got all of these tools available to you, it's really hard to know what to start with. It's really hard to know what tool to use first. Instead, I have just carried away all of these tools, so I only have this one tool available to me. I've limited myself in a really healthy way. Thanks, Heidi. I don't know tools. I don't know tools. I got no idea. I know this tool. That's about all I got. I know Lucidchart. Alrighty, so on this page, I've again carried it away to have just my flowchart, carrying away being the little drop-down menu. And we're going to fill out the rest of this flowchart here. I've already kind of come in and created a flowchart for you for hiring a new employee. So, we've got, creating job qualifications, posting the job to the website, screening the applications. Do they meet the qualifications? You can read the whole thing, but basically we're trying to hire somebody new. What does this look like for the company's point of view? And what we're going to create is the applicant's point of view. What is it like to be the person applying for a job, getting that interview, and going through the whole process? So that's the flowchart we are creating today, is being a job applicant. So using just flowchart shapes, we're going to create a applying for a job sub-process, aka applying for a job little flowchart here. You might also notice that I gave you a little key on the side of our document here, a little resource to help you understand what is going on here. So we're going to use 3 different shapes today. We're going to use a terminator, a process, and a decision diamond. That being said, we're not going to use all 3 to start. We're going to fight that blank canvas syndrome and use one shape only. Whoa, Cal, what is going on here? Only one shape? Why would you do that? Because we're trying to just get things on the board. We want to get started. We don't want to be stuck trying to choose specific shapes, specific things. We just want to iron out the steps along the way. This is like getting out your notepad or your scratch pad and sketching out the first draft. So I'm going to add a bunch of these process squares to my document. To add a process square, all you need to do is left click and drag to add that process square to your document. Left click and drag. Or a simple left click will also do the job. If you just left click on that process square, it will also add it to your documents. So I'm going to add a few of these here. I'm not quite sure how many I'll need, so I'm just going to throw a couple to start on, just to have something on my document. Let's scoot these guys over a little bit. And you notice these are just blank process squares. They just say the word process in them. They don't say anything fancy yet. That's not our goal yet. Our goal is just to have something on the canvas to fight that blank canvas syndrome. So I'm going to throw, I don't know, about 8 on here, just to throw them on here, just to get something on my canvas. And I'm going to come in to update these different process squares with different text. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit with my scroll wheel and double click to update that process square. So I'm going to update the text to say the word start, because starting and stopping is kind of the first and end of the process. You got to start somewhere. So I've just double clicked on this process square to change it to start. I'm going to double click on this one. And again, we're going through the job applicant process. So we're going through the process of somebody applying for a job. So where's the first place I'm going to go? I'm probably going to go check a job site. I'm going to ask myself a question. Do I meet the right qualifications for this job? If I do meet those qualifications, I'm going to go in and update my resume a little bit. Ooh, great question. This should be on your board. It should be down on the bottom left. There should be an option for a diagramming 101 where we got in to see how we navigate our toolbox. And there should be a create and optimize panel down here on the bottom left. I'm going to go in and tailor my resume or my CV or whatever it is I'm working on. I'm going to submit those materials. Did I get that interview offer? I'm going to prepare for the interview. And then that's the end of the process, because then I just got to wait for the interview to happen and all that kind of stuff. So again, our goal is just to get something on this canvas. Nothing fancy, nothing particular, just things on a canvas. So we've got our start to our end. We've got a simple flowchart just asking us the questions of what is it like to go through a job application process. A couple game-changing tips for you all. Real quickly, you're going to notice on my screen, all of my boxes are kind of all over the place. They're kind of extra spaced out. Some of them are extra close. And I could sit here and individually click and drag and try and space them out, but that's going to take me too much time. So what I'm going to do instead is left click and highlight to grab all of my process squares here. That's a left click and drag to highlight all of these shapes. From here, I'm going to right click and I'm going to get this distribute option. Ooh, fancy distribution. And I'm going to distribute them horizontally. And that's going to equally space out all of my shapes. Look at that. Before they were all close and kind of all over the place, versus now they're equally distributed. So again, to go through that process one more time, left click and highlight, right click to distribute horizontally. That will work with any shapes from the same panel, Jennifer. That's a very important qualification. So if I've got regular rectangles and process square rectangles, it will not work for me. So if I'm using just my flowchart shapes, it will work every time, or just my shapes. Again, that's why we're cleaning up our toolbox, only using one tool at a time. Fantastic. So that gets us a start to end of an application process. However, now we need to be using some more specific language. We need to start optimizing the language we're using, optimizing the shapes we're using to create more clarity for future people joining on this document. And that's where this legend comes in. We're going to use 3 shapes today: terminator, process, and decision. Process, meaning a step in the process. Decision, meaning a fork in the road, a yes or no conditional kind of statement. And then the terminator. This is my favorite joke, and I make it every time. Terminator, not Arnold Schwarzenegger, not Sarah Connor, not Skynet. We're talking termination, the start and the stop of a process. It is still funny. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So our goal is to use those 3 shapes to build this diagram. And I'm sure you're thinking, hey, Cal, you've already added all these process squares. Not all of these are going to be processes. Not all of these are going to be what you've got down so far. Are you going to make me delete all the work I just did to re-put it up there? That would be so mean. I would never do that to you guys. I would never make you work harder. I'm here to work smarter and not harder. So to quickly change a shape, oh my goodness, to quickly change a shape, all you need to do is left click on one of your process squares. When you do that, you'll get this nice little icon that pops up above your shape, a little square with a little triangle. If you click on that icon, it's going to give you a drop-down menu of all of the flowchart shapes that you can pull from. Oh, I love this. So I'm going to quickly change my start into a terminator. I'm going to scroll down my list here. This meet qualifications, that sounds like a fork in the road. That sounds like a decision to me, a yes or no question. I'm going to click on that. Find this little change shape icon and change this to a decision diamond. You might notice some text funkiness happen. So what you might need to do is come in here and highlight your text. Might need to go up to your top left and update the point percentages, just so it meets inside that box a little bit easier. That's a little bit of a fun, fancy customization. See, tailoring materials, that's a process. Submit materials, that's a process. Ooh, interview offer, that's a yes or no question. Let me change that to a decision real quick. Prepare for the interview, that's a step in the process. The end is termination, that is my terminator. Fantastic. So now we've got a more clear language for what these different shapes, these different steps represent. This is the start of everything. This is a step in the process. This is a fork in the road. Step, step, fork, step, end. Great question from Amy. What if the change shape options are not any that you want to use or the ones we are using? That might be because you've pulled from a different toolbox. So real quick, if you want to bring your eyes to my Zoom screen for a second, hop to the Zoom screen for a second. Let me pull a rectangular shape here and a process square shape here. Upon initial review, these look the same. I mean, one says process, one doesn't, but like these look the same. The difference being is that this one came from the shapes library. This one came from the flowcharts library. When I go to change shape here, notice that I'm limited in my shape options because it's pulling from that shapes panel. Versus if I go to my process square and change shape, it's pulling from those flowchart shapes. So this is why I say, help yourself with that blank canvas, help yourself by limiting the tools you use. So if you can carrot away those other shapes you're not using, even better. So that has created some more clarity in what these different steps or what these different parts of our flowchart are. What it has not done is give us any flow, any movement, or any direction. We don't know which way this flows. I mean, we know because we're the ones building it. But in case we want to create more clarity for future people hopping in, we do need to create connectors or lines between our objects. So my favorite thing to show off is lines in Lucid because they're one of the easiest things to do. And I would sit here drawing lines all day if I could, because it makes me so happy and it's so easy to do. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit to find my terminator that says the word start on it. When I hover over this start terminator, you will see 4 different purple circles on the edge of that shape. If you're having a hard time seeing them, go ahead and left click on that shape and they will pop outside of your shape. And then the best part is to make a line, all you need to do is find one of those 4 connector points, left click and drag. Find one of those shapes, find a contact point, left click and drag. Find a shape, find your contact points, left click and drag. Find a shape, find your contact point, left click and drag, find a shape, find your contact point, find a shape, find your contact point, left click and drag, find a shape, find your contact point, left click and drag, and that's it. You've created a bunch of lines, and now you've got flow in your flowchart. Easy peasy lemon sneezy. You've now got a flowchart that moves from left to right really easily using your lines. You might have also noticed that my decision diamond has the word yes on it. Oh my gosh, we can customize our lines. That is so fancy. That is so nice. I would love to know some more about that. Well, fun fact, you can actually add text to any of your lines by simply double clicking. So if I go to any of these lines here and double click, I can add text to this line. So this has to be done on a computer. So I might tell the person to open computer, all that kind of great stuff. So you can easily add text to lines by double clicking to add those texts as well, or add those text to lines as well. Ooh, and Linda coming in with the hot tips. You can also just click on a line and start typing as well. Linda gets a gold star for hot tips today. So we've created a really simple flowchart. However, there are some other things that might happen. So let's say, for example, we don't meet the qualifications for that job. We might need to go in and go back and check the job site real quick. So I'll just come in and connect that line from meet qualifications to check the job site. And also, if we don't get that interview offer, I might need to go back and check the job site again. So you'll notice this is kind of a circular process. We have to go back to a similar step a couple different times, all based on these different conditions as well. Sarah Khan, that is a great question. I don't have great tips on that right now. That being said, the tips I have heard from the team and from people internally is to be really specific in your verbiage. Be really specific, put things in quotations like you would with any other AI tool. Just be really specific. The more general you are, the less it's going to give you. Great question, Gary. Yes, the first and second lines will always be yes and no automatically. That is a magical thing in Lucidchart with our decision diamonds. It will automatically be yes and no. But let's say you want to change that to confirm or deny. You just double click and you can change that text, change it to confirm, deny, whatever it might be. Thanks, Natoya. I appreciate that. Alrighty, so we've created a flowchart. Congratulations. We've gotten past our blank canvas and we've created our first flowchart. Our now goal is to optimize this just a little bit more to add extra clarity. So you'll notice that we have actually created this flowchart down here, and our goal is to further customize it by making all of these fun colors. So to quickly color a process square or color a decision diamond or color a terminator, all you're going to do is left click on that shape, go to the top middle of your user interface, and go ahead and select the fill color option to fill in that shape. I can then do the border color to change that border color as well. But let's say you want to be more company or brand specific. You can do something very similar where you go to that fill color, but this time just scroll down to the bottom and you can find this little plus icon to add more custom colors. So you can do things like hex codes, RGBs, HSBs, all that kind of stuff to use more company specific coloring. But that being said, if our goal is to use a similar language, it might be a little annoying to like recreate all of these colors I've already created for you down here. So let me give you the biggest life hack right now. Go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of your document where I created this pre-existing document. Left click where it says start, and then go to the top left and find this little paint roller. Go ahead and click on that paint roller for me. And then go to other sections. I'll go to another part of your document with this start or the end and simply left click on that shape. And look at that. I've now taken the formatting from one shape and quickly put it on another shape. What if I wanted to do that in bulk? George, it's about to get better. What if I wanted to do that in bulk? I can left click on this guy right here, create job qualifications, and this time double click on the paint formatter. And now when I left click on all of my process squares, they're all going to quickly be the same color. Same with my little decision diamonds here. I'm going to have to turn off my paint guy real quick. So go back to left click off your paint format, double click to grab that format, and left click on your different decision diamonds. And yes, Imena, you can do a mass change. So if I wanted to do bulk, multiples of these guys, I could go in and, grab that format real quick. And instead of, individually clicking, I can do a left click and drag, or I can do a shift click to grab multiple of them as well. So there are options to do multiples, left click and drag, or a good old fashioned shift click. And this would not be complete without a swim lane, without a container. So I'm going to go to my left side panel. We're finally breaking out of the shapes panel for a second. Everyone take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Whew. Okay, we're going to go to our containers panel, just underneath the shapes panel. Go to the containers section and click and drag ourselves on a swim lane. You can further customizing it by finding the border and left clicking and dragging. And you notice that our formatting is a little bit different. So I might need to come in here and update that formatting. Oh my goodness. So I might need to copy my paint format here real quick and click on my swim lane. And now my swim lane matches the formatting. I'm going to double click to update that text. Applicant view. And now the best part is I can simply just left click and drag that whole swim lane to move it to match everybody else. Instead of having to like left click and highlight, I can just grab the whole container, that whole swim lane to move it to match everybody else. So that is quickly containers. I know there's a whole lot more in here about containers. To quickly add some more, you will use your contextual panel, which if you click on your swim lane real quick, you'll get this fancy panel popping up on the right side of your screen. And you can quickly add some more lanes by selecting this up or down arrow right here, which is a really quick and easy way to add some more lanes. You can also change the text orientation of your lane. So if you want applicant to be horizontal instead of vertical, you'll find that in your contextual panel, which lives underneath your little profile icon. To customize lane color, you're going to use that similar contextual panel as well. So I'm going to left click on my outer edge of my swim lane here, pop open that contextual panel, and I can come in and update lane colors or header colors or whatever it is I might be looking for. If you're trying to get each one to be a specific color, however, I would not recommend using this bulk swim lane option. I would use individual swim lanes. Great question, how to drag the lane again. Just left click and drag once you've left clicked on that swim lane. So left click on the swim lane and then left click and drag. You don't have to left click first, but I find it helpful to left click first to make sure I'm quickly getting that thing in there as well. I do not know of a way to put the lane specifically on top or the bottom. That might be a great question for one of my friends in the backstage. I think it always just goes below is my initial thought, but if there is a way from our friends in the Q&A or my friends on backstage, that would be great. I think in my brain, I know they just go vertically down. And yes, Jimena, if you do have pre-existing lanes, you can quickly add some more to those as well. So if I have this 3-section one, I can add more as well or take away. Oh, yes, Brian. So what I did is just kind of worked in the opposite. Right click. Thank you, Bear. What I did is just drug the swim lane on top of the shape and then made the swim lane bigger. That's all I did. Yep, there's the right click. Yep, right click to add that above or below. Fantastic call out. Thank you, my chat friends. All righty, so these are some great questions about more swim lane specific things. Unfortunately, what you're seeing is what you're going to get. So being able to add more lanes is going to happen in that order, but there is a way to insert lanes above or below by right-clicking on that lane. So if you're needing to insert between, I would recommend clicking on a lane and then inserting above or below with a right click as well. Alrighty, I do want to get to some questions. We do have some extra categories here for you to practice, but I want to take a quick minute here. We did get a great question that I want to take a second to answer. And the question was, how can we share these business process maps in such a way that the whole organization can utilize and update them proactively, allowing for collaborative ownership across departments? That is a A+ question. To share your diagrams, we're going to go to the top right of your user interface and select this little share option. From here is where you'll be able to share your documents. So you'll notice I have a Slack integration set up, so I can share with whole Slack channels or whole Lucid groups in Slack. But you could also come into this guy right here, toggle on that shareable link, and update the permissions. And then we have the specific permissions you can update as well. So to share these out, And to get people all on the same page, you're going to go to that top right with that share option. That is a great question. We love collaboration. We love sharing. And while we're on the collaboration and sharing section real quick, I do want to show you one more really cool thing. And that's going to be on the top left of your user interface as well. There's going to be this little clock icon. If you click on that clock icon, you're going to open up revision history. And this is going to allow you to see the various states of your document as it's been saved along the way. So I can go back in time to before I made any of my changes, before I even built the document. Or I can go back before we, started adding colors, started adding the swim lane, all that kind of fancy stuff, and either restore those documents or create a new one from that previous existing document. So when you're inviting people onto the board, I highly recommend checking out that revision history, just so you don't accidentally save any changes, or you can get back to your original document really quickly and easily. Alrighty, I think that was the big questions. To move just the swim lane, I would click on the outer edge of that swim lane. That is a great question. Just make sure you click on the outer edge of that swim lane to get just the swim lane. Oh, excellent question from Sundaresh Khan. I did that with a secondary container. So I came in with a big rectangular container and put that on the outside edge. So I did a container within a container, or I did a swim lane on top of a swim lane. So I kind of like did another swim lane on the outer edge of this guy and used that to create a header on a header. That is a great question, though. To add more pages, great question. To add more pages, you're going to go down to the bottom of your screen to add more pages. So you'll be able to go down to the bottom here, and you can select add pages to add more pages to your document as well. Alrighty, we've got some people that look like they got to run away, which is a-okay. We are so excited that we got to have you today. Before we all run away, really quickly, I got to do some tab maintenance. Sorry, everybody, to throw away a tab there. That was rude of me. We have a very short 30-second survey that we would love for you to take and give us your feedback. I would love to hear your thoughts on today's webinar. Did you get what you wanted? Was it too fast, too slow? Did you like what I said? Was there not enough terrible jokes? Was there too many terrible jokes? I want to know all of the feedback, good, bad, or otherwise. Feedback is feedback, and I would love to hear it. So I've dropped that link into the chat. Please feel free to fill out that survey, 30 seconds of your time. I would greatly appreciate it, and our team would also greatly appreciate it. And wait for that recording, everybody, coming in the next day or two. We are so excited to get that recording. You will get that recording in your email that you registered for this webinar on in the next 24 to 48 business hours. Thank you all so much. You were all so kind. This was so much fun. If you got a hop, it's all good. We might stay on for a second longer to answer some of these questions in Q&A, but we're going to stop the screen share, stop the Zoom screen. If you got to run, that is all good. Thank you all so much again, and happy diagramming. Welcome to Lucidchart.